Welcome to another episode of Create the Edge. And this time, we're taking you all the way down under. Here's our guest.
Hello, everyone. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome two of our lovely friends from Melbourne and Sydney, Tima Elhajj and Ahmad Imam. So Tima, I don't think she needs any introduction. She's a coach, mentor, speaker, the host of Tima, the podcast. She is actually determined to help people find their inner greatness. So, what she does is literally reconnect people with their why so that they can actually speak through their purpose. And on the other hand, we obviously have Ahmed, who is a property investment strategist, real estate commentator, a diversity champion, the director of Metropole Sydney, which is a leading and an award-winning property consultancy in Australia, and most importantly, a proud father of two. So without further ado, I'm going to quickly embark onto Tima and ask you a question based on your experience and what you do around you. So Tima, you've worked in the financial services sector in the past as a financial planner. I mean, what made you leave that behind completely and embark on a journey of empowering professionals around you? And the main reasoning for this question is you do quite a lot of things in all over LinkedIn as well as through your podcast, etc. You're a coach, you're a mentor, you're a speaker. What exactly is the purpose of Tima Elhajj, and what do you do, and who are you as a person? Give us an insight, ideally, Tima, as to how you are assisting others to create their edge.
So everything that I do is around my mission. And my mission basically is I help people around the world believe that their potential is limitless. And I genuinely believe that we can be whoever we want to be because we can construct that person within ourselves. Now, that takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of awareness. But I do genuinely believe that each of our existence in this world matters, and we're not here by accident. And we all have greatness within us. And not everybody is aware of their own greatness. And I believe that one of my natural strengths is I can see that greatness in people, and I help them connect with that and help them use that in a way of really knowing that that's a natural gift of theirs. What do those natural gifts look like? And really focus on those natural gifts and be able to create something incredible and really impact the world with that. So that's what I do in terms of my mission. And the reason why I left, I guess, the financial planning industry, it wasn't an easy decision. It was a part of my life. It was a huge part of my life. It was around 15 or 16 years. And I remember how determined I was as a 20-something-year-old when I wanted to be a financial planner so badly. And people kept telling me that you're too young and no one will take you seriously and you can't be a financial planner until you're 30-something. But I just defied the odds and I just kept pushing through. And it was a huge, huge part of my life. And it took me probably a good couple of years to really make the clean-cut decision to really move on from that industry and really focus on everything that I'm focusing on now. And the reason why, well, I guess there's not one particular reason, but one of the reasons, which was a huge part, was because I was tapping into my own greatness and I kept ignoring my own voice, my own inner voice for many, many years because I was really focused on just really being loyal to my clients and really focusing on making sure that I don't let others down, which is really part of my value system. But I was, in that same process, I was really denying my own soul from my own greatness. And for a long, long time, because I kept ignoring that inner voice, I got to the point where I was really quite miserable and I just was not excited about the things that I was doing. But I knew that deep inside that there was a bigger purpose for me and that there was another cause, like another crusade that I had to really really just basically take grasp with my own hands and really take advantage of that, and just really make something in my own life that was going to give me a whole other meaning to everything that I was doing. And this is where everything that I'm doing today really came from that. You know, I was in a bit of a dark place, and, you know, people talk about being in a dark place, and I think it's one of the most beautiful places to be in, because incredible things are born from dark places.
Absolutely.
And everything that I'm doing now is really an extension of that. So I generally feel as though that everything that I'm doing is my life purpose, and that is tapping into my inner greatness.
I think you just said it perfectly and very beautifully. I mean, each and every one of us is fighting their own battles. You know, we've got. I'm a big believer, and I'm pretty sure every one of you would believe that. You know, all of us at some point in time have got naysayers basically trying to pull us down by telling us what to do. But, you know, the moment we actually sort of break free from the shackles of our inner, of our minds, so to speak, which is to a certain extent sort of it holds us back. So I mean that is the moment where we will actually be able to sort of harness the actual potential, which basically sort of gets our passion to meet our purpose. So, I mean, beautifully said, Tima. Thank you so much for sharing this. And there are so many people around the world who will be able to sort of relate to exactly what he said. So thank you once again, Tima. My question to Ahmed, with so many alternate investment strategies and products being promoted everywhere, what approach, in your opinion, is important for investors to consider so they have the edge over rising inflation and combating financial securities, or rather insecurities, by focusing on a passive income stream in the long run and be financially independent?
Great question. And look, I think the biggest mistake most investors make, especially beginning investors, is they try to get rich too quickly, or try to find some way to get rich quickly. And that can lead to some very costly mistakes. I mean, property has some very large entry costs and exit costs. And along the way, you can find speculative investing, you can find hot spotting, you can find investing for cash flow or regional locations. The strategy that I've come to focus on and that we focus on as a business is one that is actually very boring. And I tell my clients it's a boring strategy, but it's a safe one. And that is understanding it's a long-term journey and breaking that journey down into asset accumulation, consolidation, and then at the end, giving yourself an opportunity where you can have some choices. So in a nutshell, without going into detail, and something I can obviously talk to in much greater detail, it's focusing on growth, as in high growth assets that outperform the averages. And you focus on, tried and tested locations, proven locations that have shown evidence of long-term growth historically dating back decades. And then areas or suburbs that have very strong demographics to suggest that there's strong disposable income in that area, which can then suggest future long-term growth. And so it's not being speculative at all, but just focusing on proven locations and then holding, adding value, and then reaping the rewards of the long-term effects of that compounding capital growth. But 80% of a property's location, so 80% of a property's performance will actually come from its location. That's 80%. So understanding exactly not only what state, but what city and what suburb and what street within that suburb is going to be crucial to the majority of the performance of the property. And then 20% of the performance will actually come from the property itself. So making sure you're making decisions along the lines of, does this property have owner-occupier appeal? And can I buy this property below its intrinsic value? Does this property have evidence of growth? Does it have a large land to asset value ratio? Is there some level of scarcity value that this property has? As in, is it unique relative to the level of demand? And can this property actually have potential for a value add? For example, a renovation or a development, which can increase its organic growth even further. So essentially, we're talking about buying an existing established property that has a potential for value add, holding it, and seeing the long-term effects of that compounding capital growth. And I think it's fair to say it could take a minimum of 10 to 15 years to achieve a level of financial independence, but I certainly approach it safely and make sure that no one overextends themselves financially.
Very well said. And thank you so much for your inputs regarding that, Ahmed.
Ahmed, thank you very much. As a house owner, somebody who's still paying their home mortgage, and I've got about 12 more years to go. Nobody advised my wife and I when we put money down to buy the current property the way you just explained it. And from my background in marketing, I'm just looking at what you said. I know you call it boring. I don't call it boring. I call it data-based. You're actually using data of locations and suburbs, and you're giving the client value for money to say, you'll get rich, but not in 1 year, in 12 years, 15 years,
Yeah, 100%. And I'll be very transparent about that as well. And if they have the wrong expectations in some of my initial meetings, I'll make sure they've got the right expectations. Because the last thing I want is to give them the expectation they can be financially independent in 3 to 5 years, and we don't achieve that goal. Because I can't perform miracles, but I can work with leverage, compounding, and growth to help them in the long term. Right.
So Ahmed and Tima, a bit that our viewers really love is, could you share one thing about yourselves respectively, about your persona that our viewers, Yusuf and I definitely wouldn't, Yusuf might not, know about you. We'd like to know one thing that you could share online that people don't know about you. So Ahmed, Tima, whoever wants, take it away.
Over to you, Tima.
I knew you would do that. That somebody would. Okay. I have this really weird habit where if I'm going grocery shopping, I'll always get the third item. I don't ever get the first item. I love odd numbers, so this may not be that interesting, but for me, I don't know why, I just always get the third item. And so if it's like a box of cereal or whatever it is that I'm getting, I don't ever grab the first one. I always grab the third one. And if there isn't a third one, I kind of have a little bit of a panic attack, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to buy this anymore. So I kind of like look for something else. But that's something a bit quirky. I can't think of anything else.
No, Ahmed, will you like to take it on?
Sure. But in a past life, and I'll stress the word past life. Let's say about 15 years ago, I was actually a rapper. So wow. I was in the industry as such. I was gigging. I was performing in some of the biggest platforms in Sydney, and I wanted to be a rapper. So my mum was very proud, as you can imagine. But obviously, I didn't pursue that. I'm very pleased I didn't. And I'm glad that I found property. Let's put it that way.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's brilliant. That is absolutely fantastic.
It was a lot of fun.
Believe me, we've given Ahmed a new name, #Snoop Imam. So,
if we can put that hashtag on the screen there.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's going to happen. Snoop Imam. Yeah, that's brilliant.
And Tima, if I might add, has the nickname Tima Carey. So not Mariah Carey, but Tima Carey.
I can see the similarities. So there you go.
I don't have a voice, but Ahmed does. We were just joking that day. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you once again, Ahmed and Tima, for joining us on Create the Edge. And it is International Women's Day today. So from myself and the Create the Edge team, between me and Joy, we'd like to wish each and every one of you amazing ladies around the world a very, very happy International Women's Day. Tima, your message, if you'd like, please.
Yeah, well, my message is for all the women out there, but also the men. You know, we all have women in our lives, and I just would love for everyone just to continue to lift each other up, whether they're women or men, just to keep lifting each other up, because that's what life is all about. It's about really feeling connected and just lifting one another up. So that's my message for International Women's Day.
Thank you, Tima.
Thank you.
Ahmed, yourself?
I live in a house full of women. So I've got 2 daughters and I've got an incredible wife, and I'd be nowhere without them. And I was also raised by my mother and my sister as well. But there are so many incredible women on this platform, and Tima is definitely one of them, that spend their time empowering people and educating people and inspiring people. And as Tima mentioned, lifting each other up. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And that's what we should be celebrating and we should be appreciating today.
Thank you, Ahmed. Joy?
So women, God bless you. We men are men because you all are women. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here today. That's all.
Absolutely. Women are definitely the architects of society, as I like to call it. So thank you once again, Tima and Ahmed. And thank you, everyone, for watching another episode of Create the Edge. Have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure.